Now that we did the normalizing on this one tube, let's go ahead and do the other ones, and so we can see more examples of how to do it. So I'm going to walk you through it. So now let's pull up T1. I'm going to click on the tube, or I can click right here and hit open part. I'm going to hide these planes just to kind of clean it up. Okay. I'm going to hit the outside and hold control in the inside. Under surfaces. Oops, going a little bit too fast. I'm going to go back, right click, selection tools, invert selection. Okay, delete face. Making sure that we're on delete, not delete and patch. And then what we're going to do is a ruled surface. We can do both ends at the same time. Let's flip it around. Make sure the extends past. It's on normal to surface. Trim and knit is off. Connecting surface is off. Good. This side's already straight, so there's nothing to cut, which was kind of convenient. So we could have actually just not put that ruled surface in there if we didn't want to. Now we're going to trim. So we're going to hit trim tool. That's our tool. We want to keep this side. Let's go ahead and press check. Okay. And then on our feature tree, we can select all these top surfaces. And we get that awesome phenomenon that SolidWorks, for some reason, always puts the outside surface at the bottom. And then we go to thicken. And I'm going to thicken this to what we had designed it to originally, 120 wall. And because I already know this is here, I'm going to go ahead and fix the fact that this cut all the way through. Make a sketch right there, convert entities on the bottom, and I can drag it out. Just need to get it past where my etch mark is. Okay, let's just make sure it goes this way, that way, and that the thickness is not more than 120, so we can do 0.1. And now we have fixed it where the inside of the tube and the outside of the tube now have the cut here, but on the inside it is not broken. So this is going to bring it up as an edge. So let's go ahead and press save. Exit our part so it goes back to our assembly. And there we go. We have our miter. This is exactly how it's going to come out too. So this is what you're going to expect in real life on what you would see when you go to put it together. Okay, so we have one more tube that's in need of notching. Well, not notching, but normalizing. So let's bring in our bent tube. Okay, so this is a spot where my video from 4 years ago didn't really cover is, well, how do you normalize a tube with a bend in it? It's really not that much harder. All you do is you select all of the outside, so holding the control key. You select the two insides, the one on each end. You do not need the ones down in the middle. You just need the one where the copes are. Right click, select hand. Oh, I messed that up. Let's do that again. Gonna select all the outside. Select the inside. Right click, selection tools, and invert selection. Now I'm gonna go to surfaces, delete face, and just a reminder, after you do this a couple times through here, it's probably gonna get pretty old. So I actually set them up on my keyboard to do invert selection, delete face, ruled surface, trim surface, thicken, all in order on my keyboard. So I can do this thing pretty fast once you get down all these tools. So definitely look into customizing shortcuts on your keyboards. Okay, and then I'm going to create a ruled surface, which is right here. I'm always going to select the inside. You cannot do the outside to inside. You have to do the inside to outside. I can go in depth into why, but for now, just make sure you are doing it this way. This end, we can put a rolled surface, but we don't need it. It's straight cut. So let's just go ahead and we'll do it just for consistency. So there's no trimming on that end needed. And then on this end, we're going to go ahead and do a trim surface. Click the body, and there we go. And then same thing. For whatever reason, SolidWorks leaves the outside body, our outside surface, as the bottom one. We hit the delete key, delete bodies, and when we hit thicken, type in 120 wall, and there we go. Same exact thing on the bent tube. Really no difference. You're just selecting all the outside surfaces and just the surfaces on the inside on the end where the copes are, and that's so that you could have a surface to create a trim tool or that rolled surface with. So technically we could have deleted the surface on this end, but we were assuming, oh, maybe there's a notch there, so we could have seen that when we created the rolled surface, it did not interfere with it. Gonna go ahead and fix this edge. Gonna go from this end this time, just cause. So I made a sketch on that surface, convert entities. Let's drag this out. Sometimes it can be a little picky. I don't quite understand why they make it a black dot when it's not actually like it's not locked in. But the second you drag it from a convert entities, it becomes no longer locked in. It's kind of just a nice feature. Let's drag it out. And yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll put 0.1. We'll just keep doing the same thing. So it doesn't break the inside. So now it's going to get recognized as an etch. Let's click save. All right, so we have an error. So I'm hoping this is going to show us exactly the type of error that I wanted to show. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so I don't know why this one generated, but this is an example of I've renormalized things and I create an error. What this is saying is when I go into here, the plane is there, but for some reason it lost that coincident dot that was there. You can see it's yellow. I'm just going to go ahead and fix it. Let's delete that coincident because you're like, hey, it's there. It already knows where it is, but for some reason SolidWorks has lost its position. I'm going to just remade it right there. Make coincident. And it's fixed. So I guess even though that one wasn't super clear of an error that popped up, if we had notched all of these individual part files, so let's say we notched T1 off of the original surface of T3, and then we normalized it from an assembly level, this tube only sees this tube's most current state. So now, even though the surface is here and it's like, well, that's the same tube, to SolidWorks, it's not the same tube. It won't see that surface. All these notches would just disappear after normal. Like you'd just have pure red over here. So that's why we use the sketches as the driving matter for notching, so that when we later normalize it right here, we don't have to go back and fix all these issues with it relating back to the tube that the surface changed on. I think you just kind of have to run into it and you'll see what I'm saying. But if you follow the steps of using the sketches, you'll end up with a good result. So here we have a completed main assembly, and some things that we can do next that are going to be pretty cool is we're going to add some keying in there to make this a little bit easier to line up, and then we're going to add some alignment lines just to show you guys some cool other techniques you can use to kind of line this thing up. So let's go ahead and do that in the next video.